Welcome back to my channel, y'all. It's me, Morgan Hill, also known as Liv Loves Literature, and today we are going to be talking about books with Black main characters. I'm going to talk a little bit about historical fiction, fantasy, middle grade, romance, and adult fantasy and YA fantasy. Okay, so I'm going to try to make this quick. Let's get into it. So first is Blackout. This is an anthology. It has writings from all of these different authors: Dhonielle, Clayton, Tiffany D. Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk, and Nicola Yoon. I read this last year and I loved it. It's a couple Black stories. It's called Blackout. You'll see why, but it's a romance and it's so cute and so amazing. And yeah, you need to read this. Next is This Poison Heart by Kaylnn Bayron. Now listen, this book kind of creeped me out a little bit, I won't even lie, but this seems to be, I feel like it's YA, but I low-key think that the main character kind of looks like me a little bit whenever my hair is not looking like this. You know, it's pretty voluminous, and yeah, that's what really drew me to this book, is that the main character was a Black girl. She even talks about doing her wash and goes in this book. But yeah, she has the ability to control nature. That's all that I'll tell you. And the sequel just recently came out, so check this out. Next, we have Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Okay. Most people have heard of this book. This is nothing like surprising or anything. It's nothing new, but I did read this almost a year ago and it was a very beautiful story. You already know it's about a couple who is divorced, but they are working their way back towards each other for one reason or another. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's a romance. It has some heavy topics, so read the trigger warnings, but it is a really great story. It's gonna be, I think, just a trilogy. The second one came out in March, and the third one is set to come out in February or March of next year. Okay, next we have Ethic by Ashley Antoinette. Okay, so this is technically not the beginning of the story. You need to read Moth to a Flame. You need to read Moth to a Flame first, and then read all the books in publication order. However, I just want to hold this one up because it's just amazing. Urban fiction, okay, it's about like what life is like for people who from a rougher background. Okay, it takes place in Flint, Michigan, and I love everything about this series. It's so addictive. The books are really skinny. There's romance, there's street politics, and I don't know, like, I can't even describe this. You just need to read it. Okay, Ghost by Jason Reynolds. You already knew a Jason Reynolds book was going to be on here, okay? Ghost by Jason Reynolds. This is about a young boy. As you can see, I've done some tabbing here. This is about a young boy who is essentially running from his past. He has a lot that he's dealing with regarding his family and his father and mom and stuff, but he gets into track, and you're gonna see how this kind of helps him out and helps him engage in like a positive outlet. So it's middle grade, but it does handle like some heavier topics ish. But yeah, I love everything about it. If you are a fan of Percy Jackson or just very strong, slightly arrogant male main characters, then this is definitely for you. Okay, next we have The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This is now the second time I've talked about this book in a video. You'll hear me talk about it a lot more. I also mentioned, if you watched my last video, that I have 4 copies of this book. So this is my favorite. It's the golden edition, and it's the collector's edition. I have tabbed it up. And yeah, I just really love this book. It touches on interracial relationships, police brutality, Black culture, what it means to be Black in America, and all of the things. And it's groundbreaking. It's amazing. Please read it. Okay, next we have Blood at the Root. I think in this stack, this is the one that I read the most recently. Blood at the Root by Ladarrion Williams. I am obsessed with this book. I cannot wait for the sequel. He actually just announced the sequel yesterday. It's coming out in July of 2025, and I cannot wait. This was so magical. It was so... if you love Black culture, if you love HBCUs, if you love magic, if you love slightly arrogant male main characters, you can see I have a type. Yeah, like, I loved it, and I love the cover. Is the cover not gorgeous? Yeah, so this is about a boy. Okay, a boy figures out that he has magic powers, and you have to read the author's note, because the author, read the dedication, read the author's note. He really talks about, like, he's one of us. Like, he grew up reading The Hunger Games and Harry Potter and Percy Jackson and all those books, and he's just saying how there were never any Black characters who were in the leads of those stories. Like, I love those stories. I will forever love those stories, but there are no Black characters that are directly in the lead. And I love that this is the first original story that has a Black character in the lead, and it's so magical and it's so fun. And yeah, I would place this young adult teetering on adult, because there is strong language. Yeah, there is strong language, but it's so good, so magical. I probably will reread this before the second one comes out. It's like, it's that good. Okay, next. This one, another popular one, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. To be honest with you, I read this first one like 6 years ago, and I know she just came out with a third one this year. So, you know, it's like a series that's been ongoing for a while. But yeah, it's essentially magic. Oh, it's based on African mythology. I think maybe West African mythology. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, basically magic is gone from this land, and our main character, also with like 3 other main characters, they are basically on their way to bringing magic back to the land. There's like the royals and then like the regular people, and it's one of those. I feel like it's very similar to another story that I've read, but I can't. Is it In Ember in the Ash? I think the way it's structured reminds me of the In Ember in the Ash series by Saba Tahir. But anyways, it's magical, it's mythical, strong characters. Read it. Okay, next, this is actually the 4th and final book in the Lunar Chronicles. I know it's been a while since this has been talked about on BookTube. Winter. So my neighbors are playing music. Anyways, if you have heard of the book Cinder by Marissa Meyer, this is the 4th book in that series. Cinder is the first. So, yeah, I read these like in middle school, so it's very nostalgic. And yeah, I really liked Winter because Winter is supposed to be like the Snow White of the story, but it's actually a Black girl, if you couldn't tell from her hand. And I thought that was really cool. I've never imagined Snow White being portrayed as a Black girl, and I thought that was really cool. And she's a really like dynamic and complex character from what I can remember. So overall, read the Cinder series. It's like sci-fi and fantasy, and it's really, really well done. I really want to find time and space to reread it, to be honest with you. And last but not least, okay, walk with me here. So Queen Charlotte was not a part of the original Bridgerton series. It's a story that was created in like the last 2-3 years by Julia Quinn and Shonda Rhimes. If you watch Bridgerton, then you'll know that Queen Charlotte is like its separate identity from the Bridgerton series. It's a mini series that came out in May of 2023. It rocked my world and actually changed my view on life. You'll hear me say that a lot. But anyway, so she kind of just like added this story to the mix as like the first book in the Bridgerton series, kind of, sort of. But anyways, Queen Charlotte, I don't know if I don't think she was originally supposed to be a Black woman, but in the show, they do a lot of, like race bending, and she is portrayed as a Black woman. So I'm including this in here. I love this book because I love the miniseries. If you like the miniseries, you're gonna like the book. Simple as that. A good historical fiction, a good period drama is always good. Like, it's very, very, very good. Okay. And if you don't read this, you need to at least watch the miniseries. And if you don't watch the miniseries, you need to at least read this. Those are some book recs with Black main characters. If you have any more, please comment them below. I would love to read more books. You know, we deserve, as Black people, to be the stars of the show. We deserve them to make our own content, to make our own stamp, to write our own literature. So let's continue to spread the word, indulge in some Black literature. So if you saw something here that you liked, please read it. And if you have a recommendation for me, leave it down below or shoot me a message. All right, thanks for watching, y'all. See you in the next video. And yeah, those are some books. Ooh.